James Bond, or whoever you are, you're probably wondering why I locked you in my basement and tied you up in a chair and, I don't know, put washi tape on your mouth. I don't have duct tape. Well, I'm here today to tell you about music and why it's a good game. I didn't have a good setup for this. I don't have a good mic, and so I kind of want to play into the low quality aspect of this recording that's probably going to have, and so I went with this framing. Strap in. This is unscripted. This is just going off of notes that I have open up on my computer. Like and subscribe, and comment, and share, and turn on that bell. But you probably can't do that because you're tied up in my chair. Wii Music. It's probably the most disliked game out of the Wii game series, like the one with Wii Sports, Wii Party, and I disagree for a lot of reasons. First of all, Wii Play exists. Second of all, okay, this one's gonna take a little bit more time to explain. Okay, so for context, I love music. I love making music, I love remixing music, I love listening to music, I love talking about music, I love learning about music, I love learning about how it works. And I have always loved that. The problem is that American musical education kind of stinks, assuming that a school even has musical education. You know, there's a reason the high school drama trope of, oh, we're cutting the music program, there's a reason that trope exists. Because at best, musical education is, oh, we're gonna play the recorder, we're gonna play Geronimo on the recorder. At middling, we're gonna take a part of the semester to learn about music, the C major scale. Gonna let you loose on finale. And at worst, it's AP Music Theory. Now, I thought that AP Music Theory was going to be fun. I was excited because I love music theory. For those of you who don't know, music theory is about like how music works. Like it's the stuff about the scales and the harmonies and stuff like that. And I was excited to learn about music theory because I like music. I like music theory. The problem is that the AP classes are not there to teach you stuff. They're there to prepare you to take an AP test. And like, that's fine. It's fine to have a class that prepares you for a test. The problem is it doesn't advertise itself as that. And so you go in thinking you're gonna learn and be able to ask questions, but instead you're sitting there asking your teacher repeatedly, why can't we use a minor third in our things? And he's like, because that's not what they did in the common practice time. But why didn't they do it in the common practice? Because they didn't. And it's like, why? Why didn't they? I know it's not for the test, but why aren't you going to explain it to me? I need a why. You don't understand. I'm literally neurodivergent and a minor when I'm taking this class. I'm not a minor anymore. But like, and so, I have a lot of issues with how AP Music Theory is taught, and from my music tutor for the class, I don't seem to be alone in that. And that is why, in part, I really like Wii music. Because, I don't know. One of the problems with Wii music is that it was created in a historical, cultural context where most people have a basic understanding of how sports work, in part because PE class is mandatory, but they don't have a basic understanding of how like music works, or like how to appreciate music. And that's not like to be gatekeepy or anything. You don't have to understand music theory in order to be like, I like this singer. You're allowed to like this singer. I don't know who this singer is actually. But the problem is that they aren't able to fully appreciate what makes Wii music so good. There's a lot of things that make it good. First of all, it's a safe environment where you are allowed to improvise and make mistakes on music. Because the thing is, for all music theory exists, this is how things are done, or it's really just like it's just, you know the phrase, learn the rules before you break them? That's how music theory is. You learn how it works, you learn why that thing works, you learn the music theory, what the rules are, why they're the rules, and then you kind of break them. And that's just like how art is in general, but and so what Wii music does is that the main gameplay of Wii music is playing songs. And you can kind of go crazy with how you play music. It's very much like, I forgot the exact name, variations. Oops. It's very much in the vein of Mozart's 12 variations on A vous dirige maman, which you might know as Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, or the alphabet song. It's basically, you play the same melody, but like, there are different ways you can play it. And that's kind of how Wii music is. And I like that about Wii music, because there are a lot of ways you can play music. Like you can play the melody, but there's also stuff like improv. There's variations, there's different ways to play music, and that's what makes it really cool. There's a lot of different ways you can play music. You can play it on different instruments, you can change it, and like make it your own. And I think Wii music really shines because of that, because it encourages you to take these songs that are so famous and have been played millions and millions of times, and you're able to play them as your own way. But we're not done yet, because Wii music gets even more based with Pitch Perfect. So there's this thing called perfect pitch, which is basically you're able to hear a note and be able to determine what note is playing. So you might be like, that's a C note, or that's a G note, and it's kind of below the C note that I just hummed. That's perfect pitch. It's different from relative pitch, which is like being able to hear two notes in succession and being able to tell, oh, that was a perfect fifth interval, or that was a tritone interval, or that was a perfect fourth. And so pitch perfect in Wii music is kind of like that. It's kind of like, it's actually a lot like that, you'll see. So pitch perfect is kind of like this little string of challenges. I'm going to call them challenges because I don't know if they have any specific names, questions, something like that, I don't know. And the quicker you're able to do them, the more points you get. It's very something, it's cool. And so, challenges. Challenge 1, you have to match a pitch to another pitch. Basically, you hear this pitch on the speaker, and then you have a bunch of me's, and you have to determine which one is playing the same pitch as the one on the speaker. That's very cool. That's kind of perfect pitch a bit. Like, it's being able to tell all of these pitches are the same, but maybe not necessarily naming the pitch, if that makes sense. So maybe in that sense it's not perfect pitch, but it is pitch matching, which is very important and very cool. The next challenge, you have to pair two me's together that have the same pitch. It's kind of just the same as before, but instead of hearing the pitch through a speaker, you have to hear them among a group of me's. The next one is either picking the me with the lowest pitch or picking the me with the highest pitch. So I should probably explain what pitches are. Basically, it's like, you know, a piano, like, and so the ones on the left kind of sound a little lower, and the ones on the right sound a little higher. That's pitch, like the lower, higher and like being able not just to tell, oh, this is a low pitch or this is a high pitch, or like this is a lower C note or this is a higher F note, stuff like that. That's pitch, basically, essentially. Anyway, so the fourth one is a little bit like context-based, if that makes sense. Like when I'm talking about music theory, I'm specifically talking about in the context of this rambling Western canon music theory. Like they're like across the globe, you're gonna see stuff like, oh, minor is happy or something like that. So when I'm talking about music pitch in this sense, I'm talking about Western canon music theory. If you want to learn more about music theory across the globe, that is a rabbit hole you should fall down and join me in. Anyway, the fourth one is being able to pick a group of me's that are playing a specific emotion, if that makes sense. And that's kind of, it doesn't really explain like the specifics of why this sounds like the specific emotion or feeling, but it's kind of, but like you feel it. And I'll get to this later about, but basically it should, I feel like the optimal way to play music is to supplement it with music theory, technical music theory. And the best way to supplement technical music theory is with music. So then you're able to pick up on like, oh, they're teaching me about dissonance in this challenge, or they're teaching me about the major-minor divide. And then and so, but like, you're able, but like, depending on your musical background, you're able to do this challenge and be like, oh yeah, this sounds happy. But the optimal way to play is to ask yourself, why does this sound happy to me? And get into musical history and the associations of the dies irae with doom and stuff, and dissonance and consonance, okay, gotta move on before I go crazy. Okay, the next one. You have a bunch of me's, they're playing the same melody, and you have to pick which me is playing the wrong note. It will usually be like one note that's off, and you have to determine which one is the wrong note, or like which instrument is playing the wrong note. And not only do you have to determine like pitch and stuff, like, oh, this is the wrong pitch for this melody, you also have to determine timbre to be able to determine whether it's the horn that's playing the wrong note or the violin. And that's very, very cool and very important if you're like conducting concert bands, and you have to be able to tell the bassoons are playing the wrong instrument. There usually aren't bassoons in high school college bands. Oh my god. Fun fact, I almost started playing the bassoon because there were never bassoon players in the school bands, and I was so petty. That's why I took up viola actually, because there are like no viola players either. Everyone knows the flute and the violin and the trumpet, but no one knows the viola or the bassoon or the oboe or the thing in Symphonie Fantastique, that thing, or the English horn. Anyway, the next challenge, you have to match a two-part harmony. That's really stupid. I can't even begin to like express how cool I think it is that you have to match a two-part harmony. Like it's already really cool that you have to like match pitches, but to be able to hear two notes playing over each other and be able to determine which notes, to be able to match those notes is like really based and awesome and cool. And you need to understand that this is what makes music so good. And you're all wrong. And it's okay to be wrong. I'm wrong about a lot of things. I think that Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl are good games. I'm wrong about that, I think. Don't sue me for having a wrong opinion. Because the nice thing about opinions is that you're allowed to have them. There's no right or wrong opinions, except the right opinion to have is that music is a good game. Anyway, next challenge. The next challenge is that you have to pick up a bunch of Mi's and then order them based on what was the highest pitch. It's more pitch stuff. There's a lot of pitch stuff in this. Have you noticed based on the name Pitch Perfect? To be clear, they don't do like the playing a C note and you have to tell that it's a C note, or they say C note and you have to find the Mi that plays the C note. However, what they do is really like cool and important music stuff. The next challenge, you have to recreate a melody. You have basically a group of Mi's, and they're kind of like spaced out, and what you have to do is sort them based on the pitch to match the melody, but also place them in a way that matches the interval that's being played, not the interval, that's the wrong word, to match the length of the note that's being played in the melody. So like, if the melody is playing like quarter notes, and then like 2 quarter notes and then a half note, you might have 2 Mi's next to each other for the quarter notes, and then have a little space after the one that represents the half note. Oh Jesus, it's hard to explain in words, but like, you get it, I hope. Okay, the next challenge is to create a 3-part harmony, more based harmony matching. And the last challenge, the most based of all, 4-part harmony. Isn't that based? It's so based. I love this game. Okay, so how do you play Wii music? Because chances are, if you're watching this, you're probably not like super familiar with like how music stuff works, and you're not crazy like me in that sense. So here's the thing that I recommend. You use this as a supplement for music theory education, not as an end-all be-all for how to learn music theory. They don't teach you about like counterpoint or compound signatures, I think that's the word. They don't teach you about modes and stuff, but it's a very good like jumping off point to teach these concepts of music theory, like pitch, harmony, I don't know what the word is, but like why major pieces sound happy to someone who's been exposed to Western canon music theory, and why minor sounds sad and stuff like that. It's a good jumping off point. It's a good supplement to like not only to introduce these concepts to someone for the first time, but also to like practice them. To practice like, I think that's also why the performance parts work really well, because when you're playing the random, it's not like random pitches. It's like all pitches that match within the key of the piece that you're playing. And so you're able to like explore that. And maybe it would be cool if you could play dissonance, but also there aren't enough buttons on the Wii that like if you could randomly play notes. It doesn't. But you're able to like explore improvising on melodies in a safe environment. I'm talking like music is like a really dangerous thing. It's not, don't worry. It's all good. It's all good. It's all fine. And I think one of the nice things that really encapsulates why I like Wii music a lot is there's the Mi Maestro minigame. It's in the same area of minigame things as Pitch Perfect. It's basically where you have to conduct. You move it up and down to the beat of the music, to conduct it and keep it at a consistent tempo. It's not technically with the same motions that they use in real conducting, but it gets the basic idea down. And so if you do it at the quote-unquote wrong tempo, then Sebastian Toot, the MZP, tells you something along the lines of, you're playing this in your own way, and that's really cool. And maybe people don't understand it now, including me, but that's okay. And the point isn't to tell you that you're wrong. It's to tell you this is how the thing works. And you can break that. But first, before you break it, you should understand why and how it works before. And I think that's very cool. I think that's how music should be taught, because music is a form of art. There are rules, but they're meant to be broken. But you should know what the rules are and why they're rules in the first place before you break them. And I think that Wii music teaches that very well. And you just have to go in with an open mind and like understand that this isn't like a regular Wii game. This is Wii music, and there's value to be found if you just look for it and know where to look. The thing to understand is that this game was developed by composers, and I think the purpose was for like musical education, like teaching people about music. And I think it was meant to be taught in a way that was accessible to someone, to like an audience that maybe doesn't completely understand music stuff, like on a technical basis. And I'm not gonna say that this is gonna make you like the next Mozart or whatever, in the same way that Wii Sports isn't gonna make you the next Freddie Freeman. Because like, there are some things that Wii Sports and Wii Music don't explain or don't have, like the rules of baseball and stuff, the rules of keys and stuff. But it does have enough of the framework that you could use it, that you could like jump off of that and learn. Like with Wii Baseball, you learn like how to hit home runs, like you hit it from below and then swing up. Wii Music, you don't learn all the pickery stuff, but you do learn about like the basics of pitch and timbre and stuff, and you're free. Now I'll untie you from your chair, play Wii Music.